Hi, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will be talking about various types of joints, and basically I will be talking about the examples. Alright, so first of all, starting from the division, so there are two types. One is the fibrous and the second one is the cartilaginous. Alright, now in fibrous further we have three types. One is the sutures, then is syndesmosis, then we have gomphoses. Alright, now in sutures also we have a lot of types. So it can be plain, it can be serrate, or it can be denticulate, then it can be squamous, and it can be shindeliosis. Now in plain you have to remember interpalatine suture, and you can remember internasal suture. In serrate you have to remember the sagittal suture. Alright, in denticulate we have the lambdoid suture, and in squamous we have the parieto-temporal suture, and in shindeliosis we have the vomerosphenoidal suture. Alright, then in syndesmosis you have to remember that we have the inferior tibiofibular joint. Alright, then coming on to the gomphoses is our PDL in the tooth socket. Alright, now let's talk about the cartilaginous joints. Now in cartilaginous joints we have primary cartilaginous joint, then we have secondary cartilaginous joint, and then we have a very big division which is the synovial joint. Now first of all you should know the difference between primary and secondary. Now in primary you will have hyaline cartilage, alright, but in secondary you will have fibrous cartilage, so fibrocartilage. First I will write about the secondary ones. So in this you have to remember the intervertebral joint, then manubriosternal joint, and symphysis pubis. Alright, then coming on to the primary. So in primary hyaline, so obviously epiphysis and diaphysis, then costal cartilage, costochondral joint, then spheno-occipital, then first chondrosternal joint. Now let's talk about the synovial joints, which is the most asked one. So in synovial you have to remember that we have a lot of divisions. So first of all, the first division that we have is the plain synovial joint. So I'll just write plain. Then we have second division, which is hinge joint, then we have pivot, then we have condylar, then we have ellipsoid, then we have saddle, and last one which we have is ball and socket. Now in plain synovial joint, so in this you have to remember sternoclavicular joint, then intercarpal and intertarsal joint. Alright, then in hinge joint you have to remember elbow, ankle, and interphalangeal joint. Now pivot, for pivot you have to remember atlantoaxial joint and radio ulnar joint. Condylar joint obviously we all know, TMJ, knee, and metacarpophalangeal joint. Ellipsoid is wrist, and very important, atlanto-occipital joint. In saddle, you have to remember the first metacarpal joint. All right, then in this you can also remember the incudo-malleolar joint. All right, just write it in a better way. Incudo-malleolar joint. Then in ball and socket, obviously we have the shoulder, hip, and we have the incudo, malleus, malleus stipes. So we have the, just give me a second, we have the malleus and stipes joint. All right, now in this two examples that are usually the most asked ones. So see, first you have occiput, then you have atlas, and then you have axis. So in atlas and axis, all right, we have the pivot joint, and in atlanto-occipital we have ellipsoid joint. Okay, remember this. Now here I did a mistake, that's why I was wondering what I'm forgetting. So this is the incudo-stapedial joint, not the. All right, so then another example is that we are asked usually, right, with this one. So we have malleus, incus, and stapes. So this joint is the saddle joint. So just give me a second. So this is the saddle joint, and this one, incus, is ball and socket. So if you ever like get confused now, just remember ISB. All right, so this is like Indian School of Business, right? So through this you can remember that incus and stapes, they basically have ball and socket joint, and this you can remember by miss. So malleus and incus have saddle joint. Now this also, as I remember, I'm just telling, so I usually remember it as like a party. So this is like Aam Aadmi Party, and in this is basically atlas, this is axis, and this is pivot joint. For occipital, atlas, and ellipsoid, I have Ebola. So in Ebola, ellipsoid, all right, then LA, so occiput and atlas. But this is like, if you remember this much only, then it's fine, you'll make out this one yourself. So now in this, the most commonly asked questions, so usually denticulate, lambdoid, all of these are asked. All right, and then these are also like secondary and primary cartilaginous. This is like super important, you can't dare to skip it. So these are the types of joints, and I hope I made it easier for you to understand. If you